Estrella Galicia.
Life is too short to be drinking shitty beer.
Welcome to another edition of Bands, Bikes and Booze Reviews. Before I start, they've just got one of their bikes started over the road, so if you hear a bike revving, that'll be them, not my arse. Alright. Anyway, moving along swiftly, we have got a bottle of this stuff. This is the Estrella Galicia. I know how to pronounce that because I work with a fella from Galicia. And because I call it Galicia, and he said, no, it's Galicia. That's how they pronounce it. I'm not knocking them, but that's how they pronounce it. It's their beer, basically. Galicia, if you're not Galicia. Galicia is a region in the northwest of Spain, and it's very proud of this stuff. Now, one thing a lot of people get mixed up is there is a brewery called Dam. I think they're from Barcelona, and they do a beer called Estrella. Estrella in Spanish means star. You know, you can see the Stella. The etymology from that is pretty similar. Latin languages, star is Estrella, Stella, etc. But that's where this is coming from. And some people get these two beers mixed up. They're completely separate. They are not connected in any way whatsoever. The Dam Brewery in Barcelona has absolutely nothing to do with this brewery. This brewery has been going since 1906, and they're called the Hijos de Rivera Brewery. I think I pronounced that right. But they've been going since 1906. They're a completely independent, family-owned brewery, which I think is a great thing because you haven't got the big AB InBev type corporations getting their mucky mitts on this. As I say, it's 100% family owned, and it is a really successful brewery. They export to all over Europe and the United States as well. They produce 200 million litres a year. Now that's some feat, and they're quite well known. They sponsor a lot of Formula One stuff. Now, I don't know anything about Formula One. Doesn't mean a thing to me, but apparently there's a Spanish driver, can't think of his name, but they sponsor him. But what they do sponsor, that I do know a bit about, is the football. They sponsor Celta Vigo and they sponsor Deportivo La Coruña. Now, the two teams come from Galicia, and you may wonder why they've sponsored both teams. There's a method in that madness. Tennant's done it with Celtic and Rangers in Glasgow, and the thinking behind it is just basic common sense. If you sponsor one team, the supporters of the other team are not going to drink your beer. However, if you sponsor both teams in a big city, you don't get that divide. Everybody drinks your beer and everyone's a winner. So that's why they've done that, and you know, I do understand that as well. So this does look like a good beer. However, now, I'm never swayed by hearsay or reviews, beer reviews. I never look at beer reviews before I review a beer. I want to review this on my own terms, and if it's bad, I'll tell you it's bad, and if it's good, I'll tell you it's good. But there's a forum, a West Ham forum that I go on, and some of the people that go on there, they've drank this stuff and they've not been impressed by it, which is fair enough, you know, that's their taste. I'm not going to be influenced by I'm not going to be influenced by that. I'm just going to take this on its own merits. And doing a bit of research on the beer, it does look quite interesting, and it's got all the signs of being a good beer. So, let's investigate. Okay, Estrella Galicia. I know I'm putting on a stupid accent, but every time my mate in work, he tells me how to pronounce it. I take the piss out of him. I know I shouldn't do. It's an horrible thing to do. But we're British. It's what we do. It's a term of endearment. If you're a foreign geezer and you're watching this and you think that British people are taking the piss out of you all the time because of your accent or because of, I don't know, anything, it's not because we don't like you. That's how we say we like you. We take the piss out of you. All right? So don't get the arsehole. Don't get all fucking precious like a little snowflake. Anyway, I was looking up this beer on their website and I was looking up the ingredients and it looks really interesting. They use Pilsner malt on this. They do use maize on some of their beers. They do a few other beers as well, but on this one they don't. It's just Pilsner malt. They use Perla and Hallertau hops. Now Hallertau is a noble hop. Perla is a German hop. It's just not part of the four noble hops. They also use, on some of their beers, they grow their own nugget hops. So they call it Galician nugget hops. And that's a twist on a British hop, which is quite interesting actually. And they use German yeast as well. So on paper, this does look like a good beer. So let's see if it is or not. Right, now here's the label. All right. Now, as I said before earlier in the video, is this autofocus going to play ball today? Or is it going to be a fucking bell end like it normally is? No, it's not too bad. There you go. There you go, Lois. And here's the cap. And of course, it's a star. And that's what Estrella means in Spanish. And again, I just want to reiterate, do not confuse this with the Estrella Dam. They're two completely different beers. They do not have anything in common. They are not connected in any way whatsoever. All right. So there you go. Right, let's get it open. There's the cap, just in case you wanted another closer look at it. Alright, welcome to the collection. I'm sure I've had this before. They sell it in Wetherspoons. And this, I think, may have escaped the Wetherspoons cull of foreign beers or European beers. I think this is still might be available. I could be wrong on that though. So please correct me if I'm wrong. Right, what are we getting on the nose? Now they did say they used roasted malt. There's a bit of an astringent aroma coming from that. It's like burnt malt. But there's some reasonable hoppy lemon citrus. But it is dominated by that malty, that dodgy malt aroma. Could be wrong though. Let's get it in the glass. There it is. It's a slightly darker amber than I would expect on a lager. Lots of carbonation in there. Can you see it? And that doesn't look good. That really doesn't smell nice, which is a shame because it does look good on paper. Oh well. Oh well, there's only one way to find out. Let's just get it down the hatch. Cheers. It's just okay. There's nothing stand out in this whatsoever. There is a slightly roasted type flavour to it, and the colour is darker as well. It's reminding me a bit of a supermarket lager. It certainly doesn't impress me as much as the Estrella Dam. That had really nice malty flavours to it, and all the malt came from local farmers. This stuff it really did talk a good fight. It had, you know, Perla and Hallertau, German yeast, Pilsner malt, but I think they've roasted that malt a little bit too much. Mouthfeel isn't too bad. And on a hot day, thankfully, it's not too hot out there, but this is not the greatest. I do wonder why they put World Lager on the label. Why not just call it Spanish Lager? Why would you call it World Lager? Well, I suppose you've got the German ingredients to it, but you could have easily called that, you know, European Lager, but World Lager. I mean, that's just, why would you do that? It doesn't smell that great, and to be honest, it tastes like a macro brewed lager. Not very impressed with that, to be honest. Don't get me wrong, I'm being harsh, and I'm probably being overcritical. On a hot day, this wouldn't go down too badly. You know, if you had this really ice cold, managed to blot out all them flavours, it would be quite refreshing, but it is not that great. I don't think it is anyway. So what's the verdict on Estrella Galicia? Not really impressed, to be honest. It tastes like a macro brewed lager. It really did talk a good fight. It had Hallertau hops, it had Perla hops, it had German yeast, Pilsner malt. You know, that really does look like a reasonably impressive brew sheet. And then the aromas got the alarm bells ringing, and rarely do aromas lie. If you're getting bad aroma, usually that will indicate a bad pint. And yeah, it doesn't smell great. It smells like the sort of stuff Lidl would class as their craft beer, even though it's contract brewed. It does look nice, don't get me wrong. You know, slightly darker than normal. Looks like a Czech Pilsner, if anything. The carbonation levels look really nice, but it's just let down by the flavour, I think. It just isn't up there with the best of them. As I say, don't get me wrong, if this was ice cold on a really hot day and you had a crate of this and you was having a barbecue or something like that, or just a party or something around your gaff, then it would be okay, but I certainly wouldn't go to Witherspoons and order a bottle of this stuff. Nah. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. And I'd say, if you're going to buy this stuff, make sure it's on super cheap special offer. I think I got this for £1.50 odd on, I think it was Honest Brew. And to be honest, if I'd have paid £1.50 for this in a shop, I'd have been disappointed. I think 99p is the most I would ever pay for this. If it was anything over £1, I'd say nah, there's better beers out there. Not really impressed, to be honest. So 5 out of 10. Sounds like I'm being harsh, but it's just not up there, I don't think. So 5 out of 10. Only recommended if it's very, very cheap. And remember, I'm drinking this shit, so you don't have to.